So I don't think I've invented anything here, but there's only one tutorial on YouTube on how to do the Turkish cast on for toe up socks with double pointed needles. There's only one. It is from 2008 and by a woman making an amigurumi foot. And it helped me a lot, but I thought I would offer how I do it as a beginner sock knitter. To do this, you need 3 DPNs, and for this tutorial, I'm using a DK weight cotton merino blend that is not at all stretchy, and it's definitely not a sock yarn, so this will probably be harder for me, but I promise it won't be as bad for you if you're using a friendlier yarn. To start, make a slip knot however you like to do it. This does not count as your first stitch, but you're going to stick it on a needle. And keep your tail out of the way. It does not need to be this long, but whatever. Take your second needle and stick it on top. You can also stick it on the bottom, but this is how I learned from that amigurumi lady. And then you want to loosely wrap your working yarn around both needles for half the total number of stitches you're casting on. I emphasize loosely. This will make it easier for you. I'm going to pretend this is a 20 stitch sock toe, so I'm wrapping 10 times. And you want to kind of pull the working yarn back because it's not really secured to anything at all. I really don't know how to do this English style, so this is not the most universally helpful tutorial. Okay, so as someone using DPNs, you know that you're only ever working with 2 needles. There's your working needle in your right hand, and the left needle you're taking the live stitches off of. So this third needle on the bottom is fulfilling the role of a circular needle cable. So that amigurumi person recommended tugging your inactive bottom needle out to the right so you can be extra sure you're not going to pull the stitches off completely, and I thought that was revolutionary. So to start, you're kind of doing a digging motion here because it's not flexible like a cable. There's a lot less give. So you have to get in this like crevice that the taper makes against the bottom needle. And you will sometimes pull the loop off the top needle completely before you've really knit the stitch, but it's not going anywhere as long as you get the working yarn through in the end. So that's 1 stitch and the loop is still on the 3rd needle. And you can do this like rocking motion to open up the loop more, but you can definitely see that I'm doing this digging motion, like it is not super comfortable. And this is why it helps for the initial wraps around the needle to be super loose. And we're getting to the end here. See, I pulled it off completely, but that's okay. I can kind of pick it up with the needle it fell off of just to be able to get my loop through for the new stitch, and we're good. With this last one, we have knit across the top needle, and these are actual knit stitches here. You can see there's even purl bumps on the back. And now we're going to flip around to work the bottom stitches. You want to rotate it this way. What is that? Clockwise? So that your working yarn is where you expect it to be. So that is over here on the right side of your needles. Personally, I don't like to pull out the slip knot until I've worked all these stitches because it just makes me feel more secure. But maybe you can do it now. I don't know, maybe. I'd say at least do your first stitch. So I just completely disregard the slip knot and move on to the first loop. And then I knit it and pull them both off. And then you're going to knit across this other needle until you come back around to the first stitch you knit, which is the beginning of the round. I am recording a voiceover because I watched this. Firstly, my parents' landline went off. Secondly, the sound effects I make while knitting are, I think, more like both scatting and screaming, and like also Tina Belcher like groaning noises. Just go slowly when you do this. Maybe don't drink coffee right before so you don't shake. So this method is definitely for the stubborn people like me who don't like magic loop, or you just don't own circular needles in sock sizes. But this video could also convince you to buy circulars because this looks awful, which would also be a fair outcome, and I'm very happy for you to have found this video. So I've knit every stitch now. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the slip knot so I have this tail. And now you're ready to knit through all the stitches again once more, which I think is standard for the Turkish cast on. And then after that, you can progress with your sock pattern, which generally at this point you would start increasing the toe and then going up the foot. But that is how I cast on with 3 DPNs. One last thing about DPNs, I would wait until I have an inch or two worked before I transition to using all 5 needles, because it's not quite a tube yet. It's more like a calzone or like this like pouch thing. So in theory you could switch immediately, but you have this tight like diamond shape and that's not very fun. But anyway, I hope this was helpful, and happy sock knitting to all my fellow DPN people.